Welcome everyone to the fifth in our leadership series, addressing a range of issues relevant to leaders in today's environment. My name is Rudy Peake, Managing Partner of the Adelaide office of BDO in Australia. Today we'll be talking to my local colleague Matt Lamming, BDO's National Leader of Business Services, on the topic of maintaining digital acceleration. So welcome, Matt.
Thanks, Rudy.
So today we're going to talk about digital acceleration. So Matt, what is digital acceleration and how do you think it will continue to impact Australian businesses as we settle into this new reality of increased reliance on technology, working remotely and servicing our clients and customers?
Thanks, Rudy. And yeah, really good question. I think we've experienced many businesses have definitely recognised a need to transform digitally and have a need to embrace technologies to achieve better customer outcomes and achieve value for their own businesses. And it's fair to say that those businesses that can accelerate their digital maturity can build a sustained competitive advantage. What we tend to find is that many of these businesses get some progress, but then initiatives will then stall and lose sponsorship and sometimes stop. And I think the most recent COVID crisis has focused, plenty of attention on immediate term considerations. And the pandemic has definitely forced many companies to speed up their digital transformations in many ways. The real question, I think, however, is why is it so hard to get transformation right? And the key to really understanding the transformation and indeed acceleration is that it covers every aspect of the business. We seek to harness digital and technology to optimize performance, build efficiency and profitability, and different ways of doing things we currently do now. The challenge, I think, is that it involves more than technology. It includes changing habits and behaviours, changing mindsets, changing processes, and it requires people to embrace it and lead the change. And without this leadership and mindset and behaviours, digital acceleration gets stopped at the start line, and therefore benefits to our clients and our people actually become negative. I was listening to Simon Sinek last week, and he spoke of the Blockbuster story when Blockbuster had the opportunity to buy Netflix. And at the time, Blockbuster's greatest revenue was late fees.
Wow.
And they laughed the Netflix CEO out of the boardroom effectively.
Yeah.
And to me, this is a great example of one business that didn't have digital thinking in their mindset and their leadership and behaviours, and one that clearly did. And I guess, we all know what happened next.
Yeah. So I guess what you're saying is that many businesses were already on a path to digital transformation, albeit perhaps a little bit more slowly. Then we all had to become overnight, digital experts of sorts, and so we had to accelerate our efforts. But now it does feel like there's perhaps a risk of not only decelerating, but maybe even going backwards.
Yeah, look, definitely. I think that's right.
So, how can we avoid going backwards? How can we avoid going back to the old ways? How can we take advantage of the positives that we've experienced? Clearly, the pandemic was a great catalyst for digital adoption because many businesses had no other option, of course. And what role do you think leaders play in maintaining the adoption? And perhaps because you do have a specialisation in real estate in that industry, perhaps you could talk about what those people did, what they're doing now, based on their experience.
Yeah, definitely. I think no doubt, the pandemic has been a catalyst. It's definitely highlighted the burning platform that many businesses had in their adoption of digital and technology and their transformation journey. It should be said, however, that the COVID pandemic is not the first, and it definitely won't be the last. I think about when the internet was introduced, and many businesses at that time went out of business because they didn't embrace it and they didn't change their business model, and they continued with their antiquated ways. The COVID experience, in my view, has simply increased the pace of change. What we'd normally sort of see in a 1 or 2 year time frame, we're suddenly seeing in a 1 to 2 week time frame.
Yeah.
those businesses that were able to adapt and pivot their business models in quick time had started their transformation journeys long before the pandemic had started, and that's about being prepared. The great example, as you say, is the real estate industry that I work heavily with. Before the pandemic, the industry had already embraced technology. They had virtual tours of homes for advertising purposes. They had digital editing of photos for displaying their homes visually. They'd embraced DocuSign to deliver electronic contracts. And what this meant was that when restrictions really hit and limited buyers for open inspections, for instance, limited the ability to show homes to the market, agents needed to embrace the technology, not only for displaying homes virtually, but also to ensure that they can continue to transact with contracts. They also needed to embrace technology to undertake online auctions rather than on-site auctions. The challenge with this is there's obviously pros and cons with all of these approaches, and real estate being a people business, one of negotiation, auctions needing to connect one-on-one with your bidders. Does technology really give you that best experience as a buyer or as an agent? And I think that's a fundamental question that needs answering. So I think as leaders, it's definitely important as a business to review what's been embraced, review what's changed, what was of benefit and what wasn't. And as leaders, it's definitely critical not to fall back into what was done before. Implement the elements that support growth into the future and provide better outcomes for our consumers and our people.
Yes, I think you've reminded us, once again, the only constant out there is change. And the pandemic was another example of change very much forced upon us. But now we've got this opportunity and in fact, the necessity to take the time to reflect on what we experienced back then and through that period. And, it's still ongoing for many. Figure out what will have a long-term benefit. What can we pick up that's of benefit, as well as figuring out perhaps, what do we need to drop that isn't going to work from that consumer point of view. And that's a nice segue into my next question, and that is, what role do you think clients and consumers will play in the way organisations consider digital acceleration moving forward? And how does technology fit into that process?
Yeah, the role of clients, in my view, is a significant one. I've always been of the opinion that clients need to be at the centre of everything a business considers in its strategic approach, and importantly, any consideration of their digital roadmap. Organisations need to consider how their clients will engage with them. How do they want to engage with you as a business? I talk about the client of the future often, and the way we currently think about our clients and how they engage with us. It's definitely going to be different with how they engage with us in 5 years' time. A great example we've seen through the most recent 5 or 6 months is the need for us as business advisors to engage, with our clients virtually through online channels. This has provided definitely many benefits, not only to us but also our clients. Our clients have been comfortable with this approach, which has been great, and they can sort of see the benefits their end in terms of time efficiency as well. The other aspect that it opens up is that I definitely believe businesses now understand better that they can transcend borders. It's opened up new markets for businesses to consider and benefit from, both nationally and internationally. But I think, the key aspect here is coming back to the client experience, and technology is always going to be that enabler. So if, organisations have a strong focus and strategy around delivering their customer experience and consider how technology and digital will enhance that experience, then I think they'll come out successful.
Yeah, I think that's right. Client experience has always been a key aspect of running a successful business. And I guess now more clients and customers are more comfortable using digital channels to interact with us. There's a real opportunity for growth for those that continue on this journey of digital acceleration. That makes sense.
Yeah.
So post-COVID-19, how do you see organisations maintaining this digital acceleration? And what else do you think we need to think about as we handle this data, potentially more data, flowing through our digital channels?
Yeah, look, I alluded to it earlier. I think that the rapid pace of digital change is not going to slow down anytime soon. I think in many ways it's only going to become faster. So, disrupting your own business, in my opinion, is a must, and this will support your digital acceleration in many ways. The success of your business's digital acceleration is always going to come back to your ability to understand the data sets, understand the supply chain, and with so many platforms and apps, it's easy to get decentralized systems. So I think the importance of centralized systems and platforms that work together and provide collaboration for the business's systems and people and its clients will be crucial for success. It's an absolute must to maintain integrity of the data and security of the platforms so that you can deliver trust at every point. There's nothing worse than wrong data sets. So really important that trust level is there in the data sets. And I definitely believe the other element that will be crucial for success will be leadership and preparation.
Right.
Leaders will need to have a strategy not only for the digital transformation of its business, but also a strategy for the organisation's delivery of that transformation in conjunction with its people, its clients, and a change management plan.
Yep, right. So you see we need to keep going down this path of digital change as we've been forced to the last little while, but now's probably a good time to take stock, to think about the opportunities, get our houses in order in terms of that data integrity and security and centralizing some of that information perhaps. But you also raised the point that we also need leadership and a desire for the change, because I guess you always need those things in business, and nothing has changed in that regard. You've got to have a plan, you've got to have a strategy.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Matt. I know how passionate you are about digital transformation.
Absolutely.
And it's been great to talk to you this afternoon about your thoughts on how to stay the course. It's certainly been an interesting time for us, a time of challenge for sure, but also a time of opportunity for those who want to capture it. So thank you for sharing your thoughts, ideas and experiences with us all today on our topic of maintaining digital acceleration. Thanks very much.
Thanks, Rudy. Cheers.
Thank you.